on the ground floor, right, left, and 2 main entrances. There is 1 exit on the stage and 2 exits in the balcony, which are also the entrances to the balcony. In case of fire, fire marshals will take position in the aisles and exit gates to help you evacuate. As a mark of respect to our dignitaries on the dais, I request the audience to refrain from clicking pictures or videos of the guests on the dais during the inaugural session. While you spread the word online about WSDS 2025, please use the official hashtags #WSDS 2025 and #ActForEarth with the numeric 4. Thank you very much. As we proceed further, it is my great privilege to host you all on behalf of the entire TERI family. My name is Aditi Dev, and once again, a very warm welcome to the inaugural session of the 24th edition of the World Sustainable Development Summit, WSDS, TERI's annual flagship event on sustainability. A huge round of applause for convening this momentous event. Thank you. As the only independently convened international summit on sustainable development in the Global South, WSDS brings together global leaders to drive impactful solutions. This year's theme, Partnerships for Accelerating Sustainable Development and Climate Solutions, is more relevant than ever. By fostering global cooperation, WSDS aims to shape a more sustainable and equitable future. So we will begin the event shortly. We will just wait for our dignitaries to come on the dais. I request everyone your kind patience, please. Thank you.
Action for the global commons.
With policy support, socio-cultural options and behavioural change can reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by at least 5% in the near term.
A stressed, depressed planet cannot create a happy environment, a healthy environment.
Shared commitment to foster sustainability and equity for all people and planet.
The impact of the current pandemic shows the difficulties but also the need to respond as soon as possible to global challenges.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed privileged to have with us today, gracing the event with the presence of our distinguished and eminent dignitaries on the dais. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Brigadier Mark Phillips, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana. Thank you, Excellency, for joining us today. Please join me in welcoming Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Brazil. Thank you, Excellency, for joining us today. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Shri Bhupendra Yadav. Thank you, sir, for being here with us today. I extend a warm welcome to Mr. Nitin Desai, Chairman, TERI. Thank you, sir, for being here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General, TERI, Thank you, ma'am. And I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Shelley Kedia, the curator of the World Sustainable Development Summit, TERI. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. Thank you all the dignitaries for gracing the occasion with your presence. Thank you. To begin the event, on an auspicious note, I request the dignitaries on the dais to please proceed for the lighting of the lamp ceremony. I request the dignitaries for a group photograph, please. A group photograph, or maybe we can, yeah, yes. Thank you so much. I request Mr. Nitin Desai, Chairman TERI, to please felicitate His Excellency Brigadier Mark Phillips, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana, with a token of gratitude. A huge round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you, sirs. I request Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, to please felicitate Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Brazil. Thank you. I request Dr. Vibha Dhawan to please felicitate the Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Shri Bhupendra Yadav, with a token of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you all. Moving forward, I now request Mr. Nitin Desai to please present the welcome address.
Your Excellency, Brigadier Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister of Guyana, Madam Marina Silva, the Minister for Environment and Climate Change in Brazil, Shri Bhupendra Yadav, the Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change in India, and my colleagues in TERI, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Shelley Dhankar, and all of you who are here, the many eminent people, all of the people who are here. So to all of you, welcome to the 24th session of the World Summit on Sustainable Development, something which started towards the beginning of this millennium. In many ways, the focus of this session, this 24th session, as you can see, is on the notion of partnership. In fact, the exact phrase is partnership as an accelerator for sustainable development and climate change. And this focus on partnership is of great importance when you talk of sustainable development. Because much of the challenge of sustainable development is in getting people who share a resource to work together on the safety of that resource. And at all levels. At a village level, we want to bring people together, not just for other things, including for adaptation, but to many other areas. We want them to bring together to share their commitments to common lands, to shared water, etc. And it goes on at every geographical level, right up to the planet itself. So when we talk of climate change, why do we need people to come together? Why do we need countries to come together? We need them to come together for partnership. Because no one country can handle the impact of climate change on itself on its own. It has to be something which has to be done by all of them. And therefore, this notion of partnership, which has driven this session of the Sustainable Development Summit, World Sustainable Development Summit, is very, very important. It is something which truly matters, and therefore the theme of partnership as an accelerator for sustainable development and climate change. And the fact is, on both of these, we are falling behind. If I look at what is happening to the Sustainable Development Goals, which were set in 2015, roughly, well, sometime around then, you will see that essentially we are hardly likely to meet the goals that have been set for 2030. In fact, the estimate I understand is that perhaps only 14% are on track. And when it comes to climate change, we also are not there on track to be where we need to be in 2030 to keep global temperature below 1.5 degrees. And it doesn't look as if we are going to be there, given some recent political changes which have taken place. So for these reasons, what you will be doing over the next few days, the next 2 days, to discuss what needs to be done for partnerships to accelerate further work on sustainable development and climate change is of great importance. And I'm very happy that so many of you have agreed to participate in a substantive way on this work. So I look forward to what will come out of these meetings over the next 2 days. And I would assure you that this is something which we in TERI are particularly interested in, because TERI is an organization on energy and resources which works on a wide range of areas involving resources, and is therefore quite keen on what needs to be done in order to promote this idea of partnerships in all of these different areas. So in many ways, you'll be contributing a great deal to our thinking on this issue, and I hope that together we can contribute a great deal also to persuading not just governments, but governments, corporates, and other entities who really shape the way an economy develops to work more seriously towards sustainable development and managing climate change. So thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to what you will have to contribute over the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, to please present the thematic address.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, Brigadier Phillips, Your Excellency, Ms. Silva, Honorable Minister Shri Bhupinder Yadav ji, Honorable Minister from Nepal, dear Chairman Mr. Nitin Desai, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to all of you. It's really my honor to address this esteemed gathering at the World Sustainable Development Summit 2025, an event that over the years, to be precise, this is the 24th edition, it has evolved into a global platform for collective action on sustainability. The theme for this year, as our chairman mentioned, partnerships as an accelerator for sustainable development, could not have been more relevant in the current geopolitical turmoil situation. As we stand at this critical juncture in our pursuit of a sustainable future, it is very clear that no single entity, be it a country, government, an industry, or an institution, can address the challenges in isolation. Climate change, loss of biodiversity, resource depletion, social inequalities, and interconnected global crisis all demands collective cross-sectoral global solutions. Over the past few decades, we have witnessed unprecedented environmental challenges. And it's practically that we don't even give so much of emphasis what happened in Uttarakhand a few days back. It's not something that we take it what happened. It's more of, oh my God, it has happened there as well. So they are becoming more and more common. Look at Delhi. Last year, we had 50 degrees centigrade almost for 1.5 months. And even the evening temperatures were close above 35 degrees centigrade. And we have already touched, because when we started with the discussions on climate change, it was more of that global temperature rise must be curbed to 1.5 degrees. We have already crossed that limit. We are almost 1.53, and the recent studies in a way shows that we may not be able to curb it even at 3 degrees centigrade. So even imagining what the world is going to be in next few years is very scary. And it's not just heat waves or rise in sea level. It's also the extremes of weather events that disrupts economies and displace millions. Every stakeholder or citizen is contributing to the climate change, and every citizen is impacted due to the climate change. The only thing is the degree to which we suffer varies. If there is a flood in a developed part of the world, maybe it will be 2%, 3% of their income which gets washed away. But in countries like India, Nepal, it is a couple of generations which suffer because of that flood. And therefore, what we need to do is we have to act. Now, one of the limiting factors, or rather few of the limiting factors that I see, of course, finances is the most important thing. Where is the money? Like, everyone wants to go green, but then somewhere it is CapEx that also stops going in that direction. The other is, where are the experts? Do we have adequate manpower trained in green technologies? And I'll go right from those who are researching, the best of the research scientists, the infrastructure, and going all the way to those who are adopting green technologies. Do they have the skill set? And therefore, this skilling is required all the way from researching on new issues to the person who is going to adopt it, whether it is solar, whether it is any other technology. You really have to ensure that no one suffers. It's not that they can't repair it, they don't even realize what it can do, and therefore we feel that the global collaborations are going to be important. It's also gone are the days when we used to talk about technology transfer. Yes, we require technology transfer in some cases. But let's also look at that each country has different requirements. If we look at India, we have large corporates, which are even bigger than many of the multinational companies, all the way to small and medium enterprises, which and almost 65% of our production comes from SMEs. And unless and until they also go green, it's very difficult for us to get into net zero by 2070. And that's what India is aiming at. We can't leave them behind. We need to have them walk with us, and rather give them technologies which are scalable, which are affordable. And there are many other countries which also require similar technologies. And for that, we also need the co-development of technologies with the best brains in the world, best laboratories in the world, because for them also the market is largely in countries like us. That's where they would like to commercialize. We have large population pressures. We also are on the path of fast development, and this development surely can be green. We have seen during the pandemic time that if we all join our hands, finding a solution is much faster. Because in normal time, developing vaccine would have taken many, many years. But we could develop vaccine in few months because we all have put our brains together. We wanted it to be commercialized. We have taken it from one part of the world to other because we had understood that it's not one country. If you curb COVID in one country, that's not the answer. You have to work at global level. And same is true with climate change, because it is not that you can confine air in one particular country. There are no boundaries. And therefore, if action is not taken in one country, it's going to impact other countries as well. As most of you are aware, June last year, we have celebrated our Golden Jubilee 50th year celebrations. And in last 50 years, TERI has always worked towards serving the society. We were established by Tatas to look into the problems mankind is going to face in the future. We started as a research institution, and we realized that policy implementation is equally important, and unless and until you work with the grassroots levels, you won't know where the shoe pinches. What is it that you require? You have to work with the corporates and understand what their requirements are. And that is what our founder, Director General, Dr. Pachauri, had taught us, and we are following his footsteps in taking it. Realizing that energy transition is extremely important if we want to fight climate change. And some of you may recall during the last WSDS, the then Power Minister, Mr. R.K. Singh, has said that we are going to set up Institute on Energy Transition with TERI, and we are moving in that direction. This particular institution is TERI's, and it will be set up in Hyderabad. And there are all the ministries which are dealing with climate change or energy transition. They are also setting up their center of excellences. We also want to go beyond it. It's not just that we are going to work with the government alone. We want to work with the corporates. We want to work with academia. And we are looking forward to developing solutions to problems which are much harder, which requires years of committed research, and with the help of PhD and postdoc students. And in what we also want to do is that these technologies are accessible to neighboring countries, countries which they require. It will be more of that we are also training manpower in this important area of energy transition. We are also looking at the financial institute and investors who must align their strategies with long-term sustainability goals. The transition to a green economy will also require innovative financing mechanisms that de-risk investors and create incentives for sustainable development. And this is an area where international partnerships can play a catalytic role. The urgency of climate action demands that we move beyond discussions and into implementation. We need much stronger public-private partnerships, deeper regional collaborations, and a renewed commitment to equity and justice in sustainable development. It is imperative that partnerships are not just transactional, but transformational, focused on shared values, inclusivity, and long-term impact. We have already proven that by uniting efforts, we can sustain, adopt, and overcome. Now, we must take this step further by embedding partnership-driven models into every sector, from clean energy and climate adaptation to sustainable agriculture and biodiversity conservation. As we embark on the deliberations of WSDS 2025, I urge all of us to reaffirm our commitments to collaboration. Let this summit serve as a springboard for forging new alliances, strengthening existing ones, and ensuring that our collective efforts lead to tangible outcomes. On behalf of TERI, I extend my gratitude to all the partners and stakeholders who have made this summit possible. Let's work together to accelerate sustainable development, not just as a goal, but as a responsibility for future generations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request the Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, Shri Bhupendra Yadav, to please present the inaugural address.
His Excellency Brigadier Mark Phillips, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana, Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Brazil, Mr. Nitin Desai, Chairman TERI, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, Honorable dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It is true honor to welcome you to the 24th World Sustainable Development Summit, the flagship convening of the Energy and Resource Institute. I am thrilled to be part of this summit, not just because of its critical role in shaping climate priorities for Global South, but also due to my deep association and trust in TERI's vision. World Sustainable Summit is more than a conference. It is a catalyst for action, fostering partnerships and collaborations that will drive a sustainable future, not just for today, but for the long term. The Global South is driving the climate agenda, and the world now looks to India as a leader. In 2020 alone, India slashed its GHG emissions by 7.93%, a testament of its commitment to climate action. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has reshaped global sustainability discourse, spearheading initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, CDRI, Mission Life, and the Global Biofuel Alliance, mobilizing global commitment to green growth. British author Edward Thompson once told Mahatma Gandhi, he put a question to Gandhi ji, wildlife is fast disappearing. Gandhiji replied, saying, it is disappearing in forest but increasing in the towns. I would like to add that when wildlife increases in forest, it is healthy for the environment, but when it increases in our town, the environmental burden starts to get unsustainable. We are supposed to belong to the same family, sharing common traits. Yet we live in the divided world. We are still fighting for equality of resources, technology, and knowledge sharing. But I want to draw your attention today to another inequality plaguing the world, that is speciesism. Friends, with the world's population going past 8 billion last year, it is clear that humans have achieved a unique status in Earth today. We are the only creature of dominate all the organisms on the planet, from animals and fungi to plants and microbes. It remains to be seen whether humans can retain this dominance as we push the global climate to extremes while driving the extinction the very organism that we climbed over to get to the top. In the book, Speciesism in Biology and Culture, a group of scientists and philosophers place part of the blame on the attitude prevalent among scientists and the general public for the climate crisis. Speciesism, like racism, is the common belief that some species or even leanings are superior to others. Let us never forget, eagles have better vision than humans, cheetahs can run faster than us, birds can fly while humans can't. And yet, speciesism has led to prioritizing humans and human culture over everything else and accepting that ecosystems and life within them should be destroyed to make way for humans. Speciesism is the reason for our current crisis. And therefore, when we talk about sustainability, our thoughts and action must not be limited to saving the planet for human species alone, but all life forms. And that is the reason in Ethics of India, we prayed Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Doesn't mean the human beings, but for all. That is our prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, India stands with the global south, ensuring the climate action is inclusive, ambitious, and driven by collaborative solutions. It is in our DNA. As Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji says, I quote, India is the land of Mahatma Gandhi, whose vision for sustainable development inspires us greatly. We have shown what is to realize key principles like green future and net zero, unquote. We all are witnessing the impacts of climate change. As per latest UNEP emission gap report of 2024, it is still technically possible for us to stay on the 1.5 degrees Celsius pathway. With solar energy, wind power, and forest offering tremendous potential for significant and rapid reductions in emissions. However, to fully unlock this potential, we must act with urgency, and developed countries should honor and fulfill their obligations, in particular of means of implementation. To unlock this potential, nationally determined contribution must be strengthened and include measures to maximize socio-economic and environmental co-benefit with enhanced international collaboration as the foundation. The proposed quantum of $300 billion per year by 2035 under the new collective quantified goal on climate finance is woefully inadequate against the $1.3 needed, effectively locking developing countries into a cycle of underfunded climate action. The proposed finance framework undermines equity by shifting responsibility from historical emitters to developing nations through voluntary contributions, setting a mobilization rather than a provisioning goals. Lets developed countries evade their obligation under Article 9 of the Paris Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, according to UNEP Adaptation Report of 2024, urgent need to significantly scale up adaptation in this decade to address rising impacts. Adaptation finance has thus far been quite inadequate. 81% of countries have included adaptation measures, particularly in food security, water resources, and ecosystem management, according to NDC synthesis report of UNFCCC in 2024. The focus of NDC have shifted to nature-based solution and ecosystem-based adaptation. While NDC synthesis report of 2024 reveals a maturing climate action landscape with growing emphasis on implementation, inclusion, and integration, there are gaps in financing, monitoring, and cross-sectorial integration. We have a strong foundation for enhanced ambition and acceleration action in the next round of NDCs. To achieve vision of Viksit Bharat, resilient and inclusive development strategies are essential. Without addressing climate risk, India could lose 24.7% of its GDP by 2070 due to climate-related disruptions, as per the forecast of Asian Development Bank in a recent report. Member of the August gathering, by 2047, India aims to be a developed nation with net zero emissions targeted by 2070, which is driven by long-term low-carbon development strategy. According to India's fourth biennial update report submitted to the UNFCCC, during December 2024, India's emission intensity of GDP reduced by 36% between 2005 and 2020 compared to 45% target of 2030. Union Budget 2025 highlights effort toward long-term energy security with plans to expand nuclear capacity to 100 gigawatt by 2047, while emphasizing domestic manufacturing of key components like solar, PV cells, batteries, and wind turbines. India's total adaptation-relevant expenditure has increased from 3.7% of GDP in 2015-16 to 5.60% of the GDP in 21-22, indicating integration of climate resilience and adaptation into development plans. India is party to Convention on Biological Diversity. India is not just progressing on sustainability, it is leading the charge. Our commitment to environmental action is unwavering and we are delivering results. Climate action demands bold, multi-sectoral relationships. India's private sector must set up, drive innovation, and forge deep ties with research institutions to develop scalable, game-changing solutions. The time for incremental change is over. All stakeholders, including corporate, must act now. With rising energy demands, India has the opportunity and responsibility to accelerate development with securing a low-carbon future. This requires disruptive innovation, decisive implementation, and unrelenting focus on sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, India is not just protecting its natural resources, it is restoring them. Through relentless commitment, we are reshaping the future to be greener, healthier, and more resilient. Sustainability cannot be seen in isolation. Climate action must be deeply integrated with sustainable development goals. The fight against climate change is inseparable from the battles against poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. A fragmented approach will fail. Synergies across sectors and policies are crucial. Global challenges demand global solutions. The current multilateral system is failing to address transboundary issues like climate change. We need urgent structural reforms to global governance that put equity, justice, and action at the core of climate negotiations. TERI's leadership is uniting the global south on climate action is commendable. Collaboration is not an option, it is a necessary. The time to act is now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing those insightful and encouraging words with us. We now proceed to the announcement of the Sustainable Development Leadership Award 2025. Established 2 decades ago in 2005, this prestigious award honors global leaders who have significantly contributed to sustainable development, especially in addressing the needs of vulnerable communities. We have 2 award recipients this year who have been instrumental in integrating sustainable development and climate action into policies and practices at the global, national, and local levels. It is my pleasure to announce that the 2025 Sustainable Development Leadership Award is being presented to His Excellency Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo, Vice President of Republic of Guyana, and Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Brazil. I request Mr. Nitin Desai, Chairman TERI, to present the Sustainable Development Leadership Award 2025 to His Excellency Brigadier Mark Phillips, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana. His Excellency will be receiving the award on behalf of His Excellency Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, Vice President, Republic of Guyana. A huge round of applause, please. Thank you. I now request Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General TERI, to please present the Sustainable Development Leadership Award 2025 to Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Brazil. Thank you, dignitaries. I now request His Excellency Brigadier Mark Phillips, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana, to please present the keynote address.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Shri Bhupender Yadav, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forests and Climate Change, Dr. Nitin Desai, Chairman of TERI, Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General of TERI, Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, Minister of the Environment and Climate Change of Brazil, Dr. Shelley Kedia, Curator, World Sustainable Development Summit, also of TERI, Mr. Dharam Kumar Siraj, Guyana's High Commissioner to India, Excellencies, Ministers of Government, distinguished delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address this esteemed gathering at TERI's World Sustainable Development Summit 2025, a platform dedicated to shaping a more sustainable and resilient future. I bring greetings and best wishes on behalf of His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and Vice President Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo, on whose behalf I received the award a few moments ago. Both gentlemen would have addressed the WSDS summit in the past. I also extend my gratitude to the Government of India and the Energy and Resources Institute, TERI, for their continued leadership in advancing global sustainability efforts. Today, we meet at a crucial juncture. The urgency of climate action is one of the most significant global issues before us. The global challenges we face, among which include climate change, biodiversity loss, energy security, and economic inequities, demand collective and transformative partnerships in order to be effectively addressed. Therefore, it is fitting and timely that the theme of this year's summit amply directs us to prioritize collaboration in accelerating sustainable development and climate solutions for the benefit of all. Ladies and gentlemen, the concept of sustainability has rightfully become a central focus in discussions among leaders, change makers, and policymakers. Sustainability is both a guiding principle and a critical pathway towards securing a resilient, equitable, and thriving future, where economic progress aligns with environmental responsibility to safeguard the well-being of people and the planet. However, sustainability cannot be achieved in isolation. It requires a collective commitment from all stakeholders to drive meaningful and transformative action. At this pivotal moment, leaders must be catalysts for change, driving policies that foster innovation, investments, and inclusive growth. Equally, societies must embrace a sustainability culture, ensuring that individuals, businesses, and communities actively participate in the transformation of our economies toward greener, low-carbon futures. At the core of all this lies the principle of equity. The developing world, which contributes least to climate change but bears its heaviest burdens, must have access to the resources, technologies, and investments required for a just and sustainable transition. Guyana, my country, is among the most climate vulnerable countries in the world today, facing one of the highest rates of sea level rise globally. Studies show 100% of coastal agriculture and 66.4% of urban areas are at risk of flooding and erosion, with potential GDP losses exceeding 46.4%. Extreme rainfall and rising seas have strained drainage infrastructure, prompting increased flood risk management investments through our National Drainage and Irrigation Authority. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, warns that without urgent coastal defenses and disaster preparedness, critical sectors, including agriculture, will face severe disruptions. Climate change also threatens Guyana's rich biodiversity, with rising temperatures and shifting rainfall endangering tropical forests, ecosystems, and endemic species. The UNDP highlights disruptions to water regulation, carbon sequestration, and habitat stability, reinforcing the need for strong conservation and sustainable development strategies. But ladies and gentlemen, despite these challenges, I am proud to state that Guyana stands as a testament to what is possible when leadership, partnerships, and innovation converge in the pursuit of sustainability. As a small developing state, we have embraced bold initiatives in digital transformation, clean energy, and climate resilience, ensuring that our development trajectory aligns with global sustainability goals. Guyana remains a leader in climate action with its Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS 2030, a comprehensive roadmap for decarbonization. As the first developing country to launch an LCDS in 2009, Guyana has maintained 85% forest cover while integrating sustainable economic growth. The updated LCDS 2030, finalized in July 2022, has advanced climate finance, fossil fuel policy, and forest conservation incentives, and has reinforced Guyana's global leadership in forest climate services. Through the Guyana-Norway Agreement, Guyana also secured $227 million United States for forest conservation and climate mitigation. In 2022, Guyana became the first nation to issue jurisdictional carbon credits under ART Threes, granting access to voluntary and compliance markets. A major milestone was achieved in mid-2024 when Guyana's carbon credits became the first globally eligible for Phase 1 of the United Nations Corsia Aviation Emissions Reduction Program, unlocking new revenue streams while ensuring forests continue to provide global climate benefits. Our domestic energy transition is equally ambitious. By 2030, even as energy demand is expected to increase tremendously, greenhouse gas emissions will remain stable or decline, ensuring that growth does not come at the expense of environmental sustainability in Guyana. As part of this vision, our gas-to-energy project will reduce by 50% our national electricity tariffs, making energy more affordable and reliable for businesses and households. Solar energy capacity has grown by 173% since 2020, with the Guyana Solar Project set to launch the largest utility-scale solar plants in 2025, a major step towards a clean, renewable energy future for Guyana. Guyana's LCDS 2030 serves as a blueprint for balancing economic development with environmental responsibility, proving that low carbon growth is not only possible, but necessary for building a resilient and prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, despite significant oil and gas discoveries, Guyana remains committed to climate leadership, maintaining over 85% forest cover and pioneering climate finance mechanisms. In fact, Guyana ranks as one of the most forested nations in the world, and our forests store 19.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, acting as a critical carbon sink in a world emitting 50 billion tons annually. Guyana is also one of only 4 nations globally with a high forest, low deforestation status, reinforcing our dedication to sustainable forest management. As part of the Guyana Shield, our ecosystems hold 18% of the world's tropical forest carbon and 20% of its fresh water, with an estimated value of 40 to 54 billion United States dollars annually. Our rich biodiversity, home to 4% of known animal species, further underscores our global ecological significance. Beyond forests, Guyana's ocean territory offers vast blue economy opportunities, including sustainable fisheries, coastal conservation, and marine-based renewable energy. Through initiatives like RED Plus and R3's carbon credits mentioned previously, Guyana is monetizing ecosystem services, ensuring that conservation and sustainable development go hand in hand. Ladies and gentlemen, digital transformation is a key pillar of Guyana's sustainable development strategy. Our investments in e-government services, digital infrastructure, and smart technologies are enhancing efficiency, reducing waste, and fostering low-carbon economic growth. Our initiatives in this regard include improved climate monitoring through digital data collection, and implementing smart grids that optimize energy use. Through our digital agenda, we are building resilience in sectors such as agriculture, health, and education, while empowering citizens with the tools to participate in a modern, low-carbon economy. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stated in my opening remarks, despite all the good work executed by any single stakeholder, partnerships are essential to advancing sustainable development and climate solutions. South-South cooperation is key to scaling climate finance and sharing localized solutions among developing nations. Private sector engagement must be encouraged to drive investments in clean technologies, circular economies, and climate resilience projects, ensuring a collective approach to a sustainable future. Another prime example of partnership at its best is the long-standing partnership between Guyana and India. Official diplomatic relations began in 1965 with a High Commission established in 1968, following Guyana's independence in 1966. These connections run deep, with nearly 40% of Guyana's population being of East Indian origin, including our president, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, and Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo, our vice president, and of course, our high commissioner, who is here with us, whose maternal ancestry, and that is the president, his maternal ancestry traces to Basti in Uttar Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, energy cooperation has strengthened this relationship, with Guyana signing a Memorandum of Understanding on renewable energy with India in 2018, joining the Global Biofuel Alliance in 2023, and the Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure in 2024. Reflecting these strong ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was honored with Guyana's highest national award in 2024, recognizing his leadership and commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation in sustainability, trade, and development. Guyana is proud to have successfully collaborated with India in renewable energy, technology transfer, and capacity building, with plans to expand efforts in solar, biofuels, and climate adaptation. Another instance of collaboration that Guyana has embarked on is that with the Energy and Resources Institute, which has been instrumental in driving renewable energy expansion, rural electrification, and low-carbon development in Guyana. TERI's initiatives have played a transformative role in enhancing energy security, reducing emissions, and supporting Guyana's sustainable ambitions. TERI's solar home energy systems have electrified 269 remote communities, benefiting over 135,000 people, while reducing by 45,000 tons carbon dioxide emissions. Covering 245 hinterland and 24 riverine communities, this off-grid solution ensures clean energy access, monitored through an online portal for real-time performance tracking. In partnership with the European Union and the United Nations Development Programme, TERI launched the Mainstreaming Low-Emission Energy Technologies project in Guyana, integrating solar energy into water treatment plants to support Guyana's green economy vision and ensure a sustainable water supply. As Guyana advances its low-carbon development strategy 2030, TERI's Industrial Energy Group provides technical guidance in agriculture and energy, reinforcing Guyana's transition to a low-emission economy and its leadership in climate action. Ladies and gentlemen, TERI is driving biomass-based energy solutions in Guyana. In January 2024, a Guyanese company, Durable Woods Product Inc., and EMC Energy Inc., with TERI's support, signed an agreement to establish a 1.5 megawatt wood waste-based power plant using gasification technology. This project will power Durable Woods Products operations with surplus energy feeding into our national grid. TERI has long championed low-carbon energy in Guyana, supporting its forest gasifier power project on the Essequibo coast in 2014. Through research, project implementation, and knowledge exchange, TERI and Guyana continue to drive sustainable energy innovation, demonstrating how strategic partnerships accelerate low-carbon development. Ladies and gentlemen, as we convene this transformative summit, I urge that we do so with a continued commitment to bold action and tangible results. Sustainability must be placed as a priority in all sectors, ensuring that every policy and investment decision aligns with long-term environmental and social well-being. We must seek ways of leveraging technology to bridge gaps in climate adaptation, resilience, and economic opportunities. We must also prioritize equity so that no one is left behind in this global transition, which is also directly in line with the Global Sustainable Development Goals. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, there is a clear pathway ahead, and through it, and though it is not without its challenges, this pathway leads us to an end result that can sustain our planet while allowing future generations prosperity. But we must achieve this reality we cannot achieve this reality without unity, leadership, and innovation. We can accelerate the progress that we seek. Guyana stands ready to play its part, working alongside partners like India and the global community to drive climate solutions that benefit the planet. Here is to new collaborations, strengthening commitments, and creating a legacy of sustainability for generations to come. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency, for your enriching words. It has been our privilege to host you, and we look forward to your continued association with this summit. I now request Her Excellency, Ms. Marina Silva, Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Brazil, to please present the keynote address.
Excelências, Senhor Jagdeo, Ministro do Meio Ambiente e Florestas e Mudança do Clima da Índia, Senhor Desai, Presidente do Conselho Diretor do Instituto de Recursos e Energia, Senhor Kenneth da Nóbrega, Embaixador do Brasil na Índia, Senhora Diretora do TERI, Vibhadavan, que tive a honra de receber essa condecoração de suas mãos, senhoras e senhores.
Your Excellencies, His Excellency Mark Phillips, Prime Minister of Guyana, Her Excellency Vida Davan, Director General of TERI, Honorable Minister Yadav, His Excellency, Chair of the governing body of TERI, Mr. Desai, Honorable Ambassador Kennedy da Nóbrega, Ambassador of Brazil to India, ladies and gentlemen.
É com grande honra que participo da abertura deste importante evento e recebo o Prêmio Liderança para o Desenvolvimento Sustentável, concedido pelo Instituto de Recursos e Energia. Agradeço ao Instituto por esta distinção e por sua trajetória de promoção de soluções sustentáveis para os desafios ambientais globais.
It is with great honor that I take part in the opening of this important summit and receive the Sustainable Development Leadership Award granted by the Energy and Resources Institute. I extend my sincere gratitude to the Institute for this distinction and for its long-standing commitment to promoting sustainable solutions to global environmental challenges.
Gostaria de iniciar saudando o ministro Yadav, cuja atuação na agenda ambiental tem sido muito importante em diversos processos multilaterais. Temos trabalhado lado a lado em diversos fóruns, como no G20, nos BRICS, na UNFCCC, no BASIC e na agenda bilateral, com grandes contribuições entre nossos países.
I would like to begin by greeting Minister Yadav, whose leadership on environmental issues has been invaluable across multilateral processes. We have worked closely in various forums within the G20, BRICS, UNFCCC, BASIC, and in our bilateral agenda, strengthening cooperation on key environmental and climate challenges.
Agradeço ao Sr. Desai, cujo legado na governança ambiental e climática global é inestimável. Sua atuação foi determinante na Rio 92 e na cúpula de Joanesburgo em 2002.
I would like also to thank Mr. Desai, whose legacy in global environmental and climate governance is immeasurable. His contributions were pivotal to the Rio 92 and the Johannesburg Summit in 2002.
Ao receber este prêmio, reconheço que ele não é apenas um reconhecimento por meu trabalho individual, mas sim um testemunho da importância do papel do Brasil na agenda ambiental e climática.
As I receive this award, I acknowledge that it's not merely a recognition of my individual efforts, but rather a testament to the crucial role that Brazil plays in the environmental and climate agenda.
No plano interno, temos conseguido reduzir o desmatamento na Amazônia em 46% comparado a 2022, alcançando o menor nível nos últimos 9 anos.
On the domestic front, we have reduced deforestation in the Amazon by 46% compared to 2022, reaching the lowest level in the past 9 years.
No cenário internacional, o Brasil defende há décadas a ampliação dos fluxos financeiros para a proteção da natureza e para a remuneração dos serviços ecossistêmicos, a exemplo da proposta de criação do mecanismo Florestas Tropicais para Sempre, que queremos que já esteja operacional na COP30.
Internationally, Brazil has long advocated for the expansion of financial flows to protect nature and compensate for ecosystem services. A key example of this effort is the Tropical Forest Forever mechanism, which we seek to have operational by COP30.
No G20, promovemos pela primeira vez um diálogo estruturado entre ministros de finanças, ministros de meio ambiente e presidentes de bancos centrais para debater o financiamento climático, fazendo uma junção entre economia e ecologia.
At the G20, we have, for the first time, promoted a structured dialogue between finance ministers, environment ministers, and central bank governors to discuss climate finance, an essential step toward ensuring the necessary resources for a sustainable future.
No caminho para a COP30, o Brasil busca liderar pelo exemplo. Anunciamos em Baku nosso compromisso de reduzir entre 59% e 67% das emissões líquidas de gases de efeito estufa até 2035, tomando como base os níveis de 2005.
As we move toward COP30, Brazil seeks to lead by example. In Baku, we announced our commitment to reducing net greenhouse gas emissions by 59% to 67% by 2035, based on 2005 levels.
A COP30 precisa ser a COP da aceleração da implementação, garantindo que os compromissos assumidos em Dubai e Baku se traduzam em ações concretas.
COP30 must be the COP of accelerated implementation, ensuring that the commitments made in Dubai and Baku translate into concrete actions.
Precisamos avançar na transição para o fim dos combustíveis fósseis, do desmatamento, bem como ampliar o financiamento climático para 1,3 trilhão de dólares anuais, partindo do montante de 300 bilhões de dólares prometido pelos países desenvolvidos.
We must advance in the transition away from fossil fuels and deforestation while scaling up climate finance to $1.3 trillion per year, building upon the $300 billion already pledged by developed countries.
Para além das agendas de negociação e mobilização, estamos agregando a esta última a iniciativa de realização de um balanço ético global, iniciativa do presidente Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva e do secretário-geral da ONU, Antônio Guterres. O balanço geral ético promoverá até 6 diálogos em diferentes regiões do mundo, incluindo pontos críticos como o Ártico, para indicar, do ponto de vista de diferentes setores da sociedade, jovens, mulheres, cientistas, líderes religiosos, artistas, povos indígenas e comunidades tradicionais, qual deve ser a linha e as ações dos indivíduos tomadores de decisão em relação a não ultrapassarmos 1,5 graus de temperatura da Terra.
Beyond action, negotiation, and mobilization, we are incorporating a new dimension to our efforts, the global ethical stocktake. This initiative, led by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and the United Nations Secretary-General Antônio Guterres, will promote up to 6 dialogues in different regions of the world, including critical points such as the Arctic, bringing together different sectors, youth, women, scientists, religious leaders, artists, business leaders, activists, indigenous peoples, and traditional communities to emphasize the urgent need to align individual behavior and decision-making with the overarching goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Senhoras e senhores, quero mais uma vez agradecer ao TERI, ao governo da Índia e ao povo indiano por este reconhecimento e pela parceria histórica que une nossas nações.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to once again express my gratitude to TERI, the government of India, and the Indian people for this recognition and for the historical partnership that unites our nations.
Recebo este prêmio com profundo respeito por este país, por sua cultura e por sua inestimável importância para a paz, a justiça climática e o desenvolvimento sustentável. Reafirmo o meu compromisso de seguir trabalhando por uma transição ecológica justa, por sociedades mais equitativas e pela construção de um novo ciclo de prosperidade que nos permita ser justos, diversos e sustentáveis. Muito obrigada.
I accept this award with deep respect for this country, its culture, and its invaluable contribution to peace, climate justice, and sustainable development. I reaffirm my commitment to working towards a just ecological transition, more equitable societies, and for the construction of a new cycle of prosperity that allows us to be just, more diverse, and more sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency, for sharing those invaluable thoughts with us. We look forward to your continued association with this summit. On this auspicious occasion, I'm glad to share with you all about the release of TERI publication, that is Terra Green WSDS Special Issue. I request the dignitaries on the dais to please come forward for the publication release. A huge round of applause for the publication release. This special edition of Terra Green covers a wide range of contributions from partners and experts on climate action, green growth, transitions, energy transitions, sustainable agriculture, sustainable infrastructure, youth stewardship, market instruments, innovations, sustainable consumption, gender, etc. Thank you, dignitaries, for doing the honors, and many congratulations to the team members of this publication for their invaluable support and efforts. I now request Dr. Shelley Kedia, the curator of World Sustainable Development Summit, TERI, to please present the vote of thanks.
Honorable dignitaries, esteemed speakers, distinguished guests, partners, and colleagues, it is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for this inaugural session of the 24th edition of the World Sustainable Development Summit. Today's celebrations have reinforced the urgency of global cooperation, transformative partnerships, and decisive action to accelerate sustainable development and climate solutions. I extend my deepest gratitude to His Excellency, Brigadier Mark Phillips, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana, for his inspiring commitment to a climate-resilient future. My sincere appreciation to Shri Bhupender Yadav, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, for his inaugural address and for reaffirming India's leadership, speciesism, and cause for climate, and the cause that India stands for, that is climate justice. A heartfelt thanks to Her Excellency, Ms. Marina Silva, Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Brazil, for her visionary address and lifelong advocacy for environmental stewardship and climate justice. I also take this moment to congratulate the esteemed recipient of the Sustainable Development Leadership Award 2025, His Excellency Dr. Bharrat Jagdeo, Vice President of Guyana, and Her Excellency Ms. Marina Silva, for their exceptional contributions to sustainable development and climate action. My gratitude to Mr. Nitin Desai, Chairman of TERI, for his welcome address, and to Dr. Vibha Dhawan, Director General of TERI, for setting the theme of this summit. A special word of appreciation and thanks to our partners, sponsors, and institutional supporters for their unwavering commitment, and to all my colleagues at TERI for their dedication in making this event possible. Finally, to all present, members of the diplomatic community, policymakers, researchers, industry leaders, and civil society representatives, your engagement enriches this dialogue and drives action. As we conclude this inaugural session and move forward with the summit deliberation from tomorrow onwards, let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration, conviction, and collective progress. Together, let us power partnerships, propel progress, and pave the path for a sustainable future. Thank you.
This brings us to the end of the inaugural session of the WSDS 2025. It has been a splendid evening with our eminent dignitaries. Can we have a huge round of applause for the eminent dignitaries on the dais, please? Thank you all dignitaries, speakers and delegates for joining us today for the first day of the 24th edition of WSDS 2025. We look forward to your active participation and sharing invaluable insights and experiences in the next 2 days of deliberations. I now invite everyone for dinner reception. To ensure smooth flow, we have arranged dinner at 2 locations. I request the facilitators to please guide all the speakers and VIP dignitaries to the hub area. That is with red and orange badges. They can proceed to the hub area. And all delegates with blue badges and TERI team are requested to proceed to the Margosa lawn. Thank you all once again. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you.